What's going on, everybody? We're back with another Acceptable Casualties battle report. Today my buddy Scott invited me over to play a little bit of Battlegroup. We got some Fallschirmjager taking on some American Infantry, roughly 600 points. We'll be back in a second to go over the lists and deployment. So here we have our 590 points of American Infantry. Let's just go down from the top over here. So we have our forward HQ in the back. There is a wire team over here as well. There are four M4 Shermans. There's also a forward observer team in a Jeep. The forward signals team is also in a Jeep. What else do we have here? We have two off-table mortars. There are the three rifle squads. Here they are right here. 7-man teams, and then the 5-man BARs to go with it. There is a medium machine gun team placed in that platoon as well. Down here we have some M8 Greyhounds. What else do we have in this list right here? We also have a 57mm somewhere. And then we also have a bazooka team. So all together, this is roughly 590 points. We'll be back in a second to go over the Fallschirmjagers. So here we have our 590 points of Fallschirmjager. Down here we have our forward HQ in a Kuba wagon. We have our forward signals team is right over here. They have the medium radio truck, but there's not out right now. We also have a spotter for artillery right there. He's also going to be inside a Kuba wagon. We have a medium mortar. We have an MG42. We have a flak Vierling. We have a Pack 40 for support. We have a platoon of 3 Stugs. Then down here we have our platoon command for the Fallschirmjagers, and then next to them we have a Panzerschreck team and a sniper team right there. And then we have our 3 rifle squads of Fallschirmjager. It's going to be 5-man rifle teams. Each one of those has a Panzerfaust in it. They're the ones with the flowers on the bases right down here. And then they also have MG42 or machine gun teams attached in their 3-man squads as well. So that's what we're looking at right here for 590 points. We'll be back in a second to go over mission and deployment. All right, so we are back for deployment. We actually rolled up attack, counterattack. So I have the Fallschirmjager. I will be deploying on that end of the table. Scott is going to be down here on this side of the table. So Scott had 4 recce units. He has a sniper up here in the 2nd floor of the shop. Pretty good range of view going all through the town over there. He has his 2 Greyhounds. Thematically put them over here, so they're going to be rolling in the town. And then down here, he has one of his Jeep Recon units is going to be coming in off this side of the table. So he has 4 recce. I have 1 sniper. He's going to be up here in that little 2nd floor window back over there. Kind of give him range of view over this bocage right here, and then down the middle of the street from where he's at. What else do we have going on? I'm going to be coming in from this back table corner right here is my deployment. Starting turn 2, I'll be rolling a D6 for my units, and then Scott's going to be coming in off of this back table corner. It's going to be 20 inches in from each side. For the objectives, there was 2 placed here. There's one in front of the shop that he controls. There's another one back here in the little courtyard. You guys can see right down a little ammo dump. On my side, I have 2 objectives I have to do. So one's right here. It's going to be the little like log cabin house. And then the second one that I have to come and cover is going to be right over here in this courtyard behind the church. So that's what we're looking at right now. We'll be back in a second. Scott has top of turn 1 in control, so he's going to be going first. We'll be back in a second for Americans turn 1. So we're back for top of turn 1, and Scott is pushing hard up the table. So he ended up getting 4 orders, right? Or whatever it was, or 7 orders. But like I said, he only had 4 units on the table for the first turn because we don't have reserves coming in. So he ended up pushing up with his Jeep over here to the edge of the town. Down here with his 2 Greyhounds, he was able to push up and take this objective. So I had to pull chits. I pulled 1 chit for losing the recce battle, and I ended up pulling the air attack. So I'll be getting that next turn, see if that works out. Then the second chit that I had to pull because he came over was able to get my objective with that 48-inch move with the 2 moves. It was huge on the roads. I pulled out ammo low, so these guys actually here are down to 1 shot, and then they're going to be out of ammunition until supply trucks get on. So that's what happened here for the top of turn 1 for the Americans. We'll be back in a second for bottom of turn 1 for the Fallschirmjager. So we are back for the bottom of turn 1 for the Fallschirmjager. For this turn, I ended up rolling a 5 and getting the bird in, but of course I get the crappy bird who just has machine guns and 1 autocannon. What was it? It was a BF-109G, I think is what it was, and I ended up rolling for just machine guns or autocannon, so not much there. With the order, I ended up firing down. I was able to observe this guy right here, but I needed a 6 to hit him from that 20 to 30 range. I ended up rolling a 5, so nothing out of him yet, but I got 2 more strafing runs left. And then down here with the sniper, who's in that window right there, I didn't have a clean shot, so I ended up just putting him in ambush. So that's all that really happened here for the Jaegers for the bottom of turn 1. We'll be back for top of turn 2, where some Americans are going to start coming in from that back table edge. So we'll be back in a flash. We are back for top of turn 2 for Scott, and things went pretty well here. So he only ended up getting two units in to come in from reserve, but he ended up rolling 16 order dice, which is enough to pretty much activate everybody. So he walked these guys in off the back corner for his infantry. He set his sniper in ambush. He reserve move ordered the Jeep up there, who's at the dirt crossroad. And then with his 2 Greyhounds over here, he opened fire with the 50s for anti-air. He ended up getting 3 hits on the plane altogether. He ended up pinning it. He got 1 hit to go through to take a hit off. I ended up rolling a 1 on my morale, so the plane broke off and went back to base. So unfortunately, the bird did not do anything, and he will not have the opportunity to do anything else as he's gone. So we'll be back in a second for turn 2 for the Fallschirmjager. Hopefully I can get some infantry drawn over here and make a push up this table. So we'll be back in a flash. So we're back for Fallschirmjager bottom 2. Pretty good turn for us. We ended up getting 4 reserves on. I think we had like 7 or 8 orders, so we had enough to get everybody active. For this turn, I brought my Stugon off the table edge over here, pushed him up to that little gateway. I was able to get a shot on that command Greyhound there, and I was able to blow him up with the AP round. Down here, I brought in 2 of the Fallschirmjager rifle platoons. Well, 1 platoon. It was the unit of 5 riflemen with the Faust, and then the machine gun team as well. So they're pushing up right here through this gate through the bocage, making their way into the middle of the town. Over on this road with my last reserve, I had a Stug come in up here. I just pushed him up with 2 move orders and got him up here to the lip of the town right there. And the sniper here is still staying in ambush. So that's everything that happened for turn 2. Wish I had that plane, but you know, that's not a thing anymore. So we'll be back in a second for top of turn 3 for the Americans, see who comes on the table. So we are back for top of turn 3 for the Americans, and the armor has come on the table. So with this turn, Scott was able to get 5 reserves in, so we brought in 4 of the Shermans and the supply truck to support them, and he ended up pushing them up over here to kind of gain control of the middle of the town. He ended up pulling back the Jeep that was placed over there. He swung him back over here behind this house. And then the other Greyhound that was left out over there was also swung around and just made his way back down here next to the little cafe over here. So this is what we're looking at right now, is just a bunch of tanks and some troops that push their way up to the hedges right there. They own the side of the table right now. I really don't have enough armor, I think, to answer this early in the game. So we'll be back in a second for bottom of turn 3 for the Fallschirmjager. Hopefully I can get some reserves in here and start getting some troops together. So we'll be back in a flash. So we're back for bottom of turn 3. For this turn, I ended up getting 2 orders. I mean, 2 reserves, and I got, I think, 7 or 8 order dice. So it was enough to activate everybody and get my reserves on. So what I ended up doing was I pushed the Stug over here through the terrain. I ended up losing 4 inches through that move, and then 1 inch to move him up over here because I was still stuck in. So we put him right down here, kind of watching that side of the town. I took my rifle squad, my MG34 squad, and then the Panzer Faust, the Panzer Shrek team out of reserve that came in from over here. Moved them all up and then bunched them along the hedgerows here, so next turn we will actually get them into the fight. Down here, I put the Stug in ambush, as well as the sniper is still in ambush, and then I ended up bringing in the Pack 40 off the table edge, 4 inches on the road. I didn't have a transport with him, so he's slowly going to push up the table. So that's all I ended up doing this turn for bottom of turn 3. We'll be back in a second for Americans, top of turn 4. Alright, so we're back for top of turn 4. For this turn, Scott ended up getting 2 of the reserve orders. He ended up bringing in a BAR team and a rifle squad. And then for his actual order dice, he rolled 3, and then plus his officers gave him 6. So what he ended up doing was he put the 2 Shermans up front over here. He has them in ambush. Over here, he has them in reserve move for the Greyhound. For his other 2 orders, he pushed up, I said, both of these guys from reserve to get them on the table, and then he moved up another one of these Shermans right here to give him kind of a line of sight, shooting down that alleyway right there along that road on this side. So that's what we're looking at here for top of turn 4. We'll be back in a second for bottom 4 for the Jaegers. So we're back for bottom of turn 4. In this turn, I ended up getting 3 reserves in, and I think it was like 13 orders. So once again, it was enough to get everybody activated. So all the infantry that was down here, I ended up pushing up over here and recaptured this objective, and then Scott had to pull a chit for that. I ended up bringing on the rifle platoon, the Fallschirmjager platoon command up to here along the fence, coming in from over here. I brought on the mortar team, the 8cm mortars. I just kind of plopped them down here in the middle of the wheat fields. I moved up the Pack 40 again. The Stug stayed in ambush. Sniper stayed in ambush. I brought on my forward HQ and the Kubel wagon. Just put them over here so I can get kind of a clean line of sight going down the middle of the road. And then I ended up plopping the other Stug over here in ambush until I start getting set up a little bit better. So that's all happened here for the bottom of turn 4. We'll be back in a second for top of turn 5. I got a feeling things are going to start heating up in about a turn or 2, so we'll be back in a flash. So we are back for top of turn 5, and the Yanks are starting to pour in. So for this turn, Scott ended up getting 5 reserves. He brought in like all of his HQ element, which is like the wire team, the forward HQ, the radio team, which is the radio truck down here. He brought in, did you bring, what, 2 more infantry stands as well? What else was it? HQ.
Bazooka.
Oh, that's right, bazooka team, yeah. MG, and then there's like another rifle team that got moved. But yeah, anyway, you had like 10 orders? 9 orders. So yeah, it was 9 orders. So he ended up pushing up the HQ element with some infantry support as well. He ended up swinging around a tank over here to kind of get them a little bit better position, and then the tank that was previously over there swung through the bocage and starting to make their way around this side over here. For shooting, he had a shot with the Jeep lined up. He was able to kill one of my Jaegers there, but I ended up getting the Beyond the Call of Duty test with them. I ended up passing it, so they ended up just moving up and positioning themselves over here along the back of the church, which left a Sherman over here without an order, so they just kind of got repositioned. So that's all that really happened here for top of turn 5. There's a little bit of shooting, pressure starting to come on, the armor's starting to move, so we'll be back in a second for bottom turn 5 for the Jaegers, see if I can answer the call here. So we'll be back in a flash. So we are back for bottom of turn 5 for the Jaegers. For this turn, I got 5 reserves. Pretty much got almost everybody on the table, and then I ended up rolling, I think, 12 for my orders. So I ended up bringing on the Flak Veerling and parked them over here. I had the MG42 team right there, so you can kind of watch the entryways through the hedgerows over there. I brought another rifle squad, and then my command tank over there. So that was what I had for my reserves, and I ended up bringing in another one of the rifle teams over here. So for movement, I kind of just took everybody that was down here, pushed them all up along the back of the church. I kept the Stug in ambush right now because I'm almost ready to make my move. I brought the Jaeger platoon command. He's moved up over there. What else did I have down here? That's pretty much all that happened for movement. And then for shooting, what I ended up doing was I ended up taking my HQ here. I spotted a mortar right in the middle, but ended up scattering back, but the sniper was still in range, so I ended up just taking the fire order from the mortars. I ended up getting 2 pinning hits, but Scott ended up making his save of a 4-up for the sniper inside the building, so it worked out pretty good for him. So that's all that really happened here. Bottom turn 5, we'll be back in a second for top of turn 6 for the Yanks. So we are back for top of turn 6 for the Americans. Pretty mixed turn here. So Scott tried to do a little bit of maneuvering and get me to pop some ambushes. I think for reserves, you got, was it everybody on?
1.
You have one platoon left?
I only got 1.
Oh, one on. So back here you got 1 on, and it was the 57 mil gun team they put in over there. He ended up walking them on. They tried to fire a shot down here at the Stug at long range, but it didn't end up hitting. Another move he ended up taking was the M8 Greyhound that was over here. He swung them around and parked them over here and pretty much just opened up and just machine gunned this platoon right here, the command tune for the Fallschirmjagers. Ended up killing 3, and then I ended up getting pinned because of motivation. There's also a little bit of fire from the Jeep coming down there as well. The Shermans over here just ended up staying put. The sniper up here fired a shot down, was able to kill one of the guys here, but ended up passing my motivation, so they're okay. He also moved up one of his Jeeps over to here. I ended up popping my ambush with the Stug. We ended up blowing up the Jeep, and then a chit was pulled for that. The rest of the turn for the remaining orders, a lot of the infantry and some support units were kind of pushed up over here to kind of get a little more of a push, I guess, into the hedgerows, possibly making their way into here or into this area over there. And then one of the Shermans ended up pushing up, trying to make their way toward that back road. So that's everything that happened here for the Americans on top of turn 6. We'll be back in a second for bottom 6 for the Jaegers. So we're back for bottom of turn 6 for the Fallschirmjagers. This turn went pretty decent for us. We had to make a couple sacrifices here. So what we ended up getting, I think, 2 reserves. We ended up bringing on. I only actually brought on one of them, which was a MG42 team back over there. For my orders, I had, I think, like 10 or 12. It was somewhere in that range. So what I ended up doing was I had that rifle team here. I ran them across the table. They ended up getting gunned down. One of the Shermans popped their machine gun ambush, and it was enough to wipe them out to a man. So I had to pull a chit for that. Over here, I had that machine gun, the MG42 team. I pushed them into the church over here, then the other side of the windows back over there, which opened up the shot right here for the Panzerschreck team. I ended up failing on both attempts to actually hit the Greyhound, which was unfortunate. So down here, I had to push over with the one rifle team I had there. I moved them here. I was able to pin the Greyhound, but you know that they're still not out of the fight over there. Then over here, I took my Stug. He was previously here. I pushed him up to get the angle to take out, and I got a lucky shot. I needed a 6. I rolled a 6, so I was able to penetrate and actually blow up the Sherman down there. And he's out of range right now. Not out of range, out of view of the other Sherman that's in ambush and that 57 mil that's over there in that wheat field. That's all that happened really on this side of the table, besides a little bit more maneuvering by that other MG34 team or 42 team. Down here, I moved up my Pack 40 to get a better lane of fire going down the road there. I took my Stug commander, he's in ambush, and then the one infantry team that was back here earlier, I ended up pushing up behind the Stug to help support that. And that's pretty much all that happened here, no mortars or anything like that. So we'll be back in a second for top of turn 7 for the Americans. Things are starting to open up here. We'll see if we can hang on for a couple more turns. We'll be back in a flash. So we're back for top of turn 7. A whole lot of maneuver in this turn. So Scott ended up getting all his reserves on over here, and he ended up rolling boxcars again for his orders, which was enough to activate pretty much everybody on the table except for one. So first off, he used his senior commander here to do the tactical motivation thing to get that pin Greyhound back. So they ended up passing their motivation, used the order, and decided to drive back through here. With my Stug, I fired a shot down there, AP. I ended up hitting. I rolled a 3 and just ended up pinning the unit, unfortunately. So that's all that happened with these guys here. Then Scott decided to push up a lot of his infantry. They're pretty much in this building here. There's a machine gun team on the first floor of that building. There's a BAR team that's in the building over there. The Sherman right there, and a bazooka team pushed up along the hedgerow to watch that choke point right there. The Sherman that was down here wheeled around, fired a shot down at the Stug, but no dice on that one. Down here, you had the 57 mil slowly pushing up through that wheat field, kind of just to cover that crossroad over there. Down here on this side of the table, you had the other Sherman push up to the mouth of that hedgerow over there, so he's going to have a way to move in there next turn if he wants to. And then over here, the Jeep team pushed up. They opened up some machine gun fire down to this infantry team right here. They failed to hit. No, they actually did it. They took one guy out. The sniper from up in the building, he also fired down into here, but he failed to hit. And that's pretty much what happened here. A lot of positioning. I think it's going to be really tough to get across this road right now. Things are going to start getting ugly. So we'll be back in a second for bottom of turn 7 for the Jaegers. See if we can get a foothold on our side of the road. So we'll be back in a flash. So we are back for bottom turn 7 for the Jaegers. This was a whole lot of fail. This was just a bad turn all around. So what I ended up doing was on this side of the table, I'll start over here. I ended up pushing in my Panzerschreck team into here. I failed to actually hit the tank there. The MG42 team that was in there, I failed to pin the guys down here. Over here with this rifle team, I was actually able to pin the BAR team over there. I moved the machine gun team over here that was down here, and I moved them up to here with another order. I had like 13 orders for this turn, so I was able to do a lot. With the Stug that was here, I pushed him up over here. I had a clean shot down there at the Sherman, and I ended up missing it. Back down here, the Stug that I had here, I took a HE shot to try to pin, and I failed that. I took a solid AP shot, and I failed to hit on that as well, so it was another wasted opportunity down there. Over here, this rifle team that was behind the Stug, I moved them up. I was able to take out the Jeep that was there. They ended up breaking from morale. Down over here, I walked on one of my artillery observers. He ended up moving up to this position. I tried to drop a mortar round up here with my HQ observing back there. It drifted back over here. I got 3 pinning hits, and I failed the suppression check for every unit that was in range, so nothing happened there. With my Stug commander that was here, I ended up rolling a 6 on the terrain test to go through, so he only was able to move 2 inches, and then on the second attempt I rolled a 5, so it was enough to get him to that point right there, and I just moved up to machine gun support behind him. So that's pretty much all that happened this turn. It was a whole lot of nothing, so we'll be back in a second for top of turn 8 for the Americans. So we're back for top of turn 8. Pretty good turn for Scott. This turn is a lot of pinning is pretty much what ended up happening here. So Scott ended up pushing up aggressively. He had, I think, what did you have, 9 or 10 orders? Yeah, so 9 or 10 orders. Everybody's on the table for reserves at this point. So he pushed up aggressively with the 2 Shermans here. Between the firing that they had, there was actually a couple shots that just bounced off, but I ended up failing one of my morale tests, and so these guys ended up getting pinned over here. The bazooka team that was back there pushed up to the little gap here in the hedgerow. They were able to fire down, and they failed to hit over there. The Sherman that was back there had pretty bad dice on backing up, putting it in reverse, so Scott just opted to kind of put him in a better position to make a move next turn right around here. Some other things that happened, you had all the infantry that was in here. They laid down a whole bunch of machine gun fire. They ended up pinning the 2 teams that were in here, so they're both pinned down. Like I said, I have a lot of units pinned. There was another rifle team over there that tried to fire down and do some damage down here on the Fallschirmjager platoon command squad, but they ended up failing to hit down there. But that's pretty much the bulk of what happened. There's some more maneuvering on the back end of the table over there, and that 57 mil is slowly pushing his way up through the wheat field. Like I said, not a lot of death this turn, but there was a whole lot of pinning. It's kind of put me in a pretty bad position going into the bottom of turn 8. So we'll be back in a second for bottom of turn 8. We are back for bottom of turn 8. Pretty good turn here for the Fallschirmjagers. I ended up getting 10 orders, so I'm going to take it from the top. With this Fallschirmjager platoon here, they ended up having a Faust in there. It was enough to blow up the Sherman right here with the open fire order. Back over here, I was able to push up my Stug, and I was able to fire into the rear of this Sherman here, and I was able to actually take him out as well. The Bazooka Joe that was over here, between machine gun fire from the tank and then the light machine gun team, I was able to get a pin marker, or I was able to pin him right there, but I wasn't able to actually do any casualties. The mortar spotter, I was going to drop one down over here, but I failed my comms test. With the rest of my orders, it was mostly just kind of pushing guys up and getting people in the position here. So I took the rifle team that was down here, moved them up to this position. The MG42 team or 34 team was here. I moved them there. I tried to pin over there the rifle team in the building, but I ended up failing to do that as well. Looking else, everything else pretty much the same. I ended up bringing on another one of my spotters to put them over here because I got those off-table mortars and an on-table mortar, so I figured I'd try to maximize that. And everybody else kind of just stayed in ambush on what they were doing previously. So that's what we're looking at here for bottom of turn 8. We'll be back in a second for top of turn 9 for the Americans. See if we can get a push here going on these objectives. We'll be back in a flash. So we are back for top of turn 9, and this turn, this was just bonkers. So Scott had 10 orders, and then throughout his turn, I ended up having, I passed 3 beyond the Call of Duty tests with my tanks, and it resulted in some carnage here. The first one was over here. The Sherman came around, was able to get a hit, but it ended up being a glancing. When I took the test, I ended up rolling a 6, and it was enough for me to pass that, fire back, and blow up that Sherman over there. Down here, I had the Sherman previously down here, there was a morale test opportunity. Ended up from the gun down there. They ended up hitting my armor, my rear armor. It ended up glancing. It was a morale test for that, which moved me to here. And then I ended up shooting down range over there, and I ended up taking out the HQ over there. There's a lot more positioning throughout the turn, but because of what ended up happening with the Beyond Call of Duty tests, it forced 2 pulls for chits, and that ended up breaking the American force. So it's going to be a Fallschirmjager victory here at turn 9. We'll be back in a second, just go over the quick end-of-game recaps. We'll be back in a flash. So we are back for the end of game recap. I'm going to touch on 2 things here. So these are my casualty draws that I had for chits. If you guys can see, it's an airplane marker, ammo low, Beyond the Call of Duty, and 1-3. So I had a lot going for me as far as the chit pulls. You go over to Scott over here, 3, 4, 3, 5, 5, 3, 4. I mean, it was just 3s and up, and you stack that up with the Beyond the Call of Duty test, and you guys weren't able to see it either, but I think Scott had, like, on my Stugs, there was like 4 or 5 like really good shots that he had for rear side armor with the bazooka down here with that 57 mil, and he was just rolling with the 2 dice combined. It was like a couple 3s, 4s, and 5. I think there was a 6 in there. So it all just led to glancing hits or anything less than that. And that opened up the opportunity for me to roll those Beyond the Call of Duty tests. Now, I think that was really the telltale of the game. On this table right here, just the way the angles are all set up with the roadways and the buildings, it lends itself to like really close quarter fighting, and the tanks really had to get in the mix with each other at short ranges here. And like I said, Scott, he had the opportunities. Like I said, if he would have blew up just 2 of those Stugs and passed 2 of those checks, this game would have been in a much different state at that point, because like I said, the Shermans would have been tough to take out, because I would have to come out of some of these fortified positions that I was in with my Fausts and Shrek teams, and he already had all these buildings lined up with machine guns and rifles. It would have been bad news. It really did come down to just some dice rolls for penetration checks and Beyond the Call of Duty. But it was a lot of fun. I want to thank Scott for inviting me over and letting me play. Table looked awesome. Like this was a blast. We're probably gonna start playing some more battle reports between this, Flames of War, a whole bunch of other stuff. So like I said, I hope you guys liked it. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Leave some comments. Let us know what you guys thought, and we'll catch you guys later.